Top Game with your host, Sammy Castro. Episode 23, Master Sergeant Saul Barajas, USMC retired, a.k.a. El Maestro. Still on duty as a Marine Corps Junior ROTC instructor. This interview was another drop from back in February. Then Sergeant Barajas was my military language instructor at the Defense Language Institute in Monterey, California, when I was going through the Spanish course. During this interview, his beautiful wife, Claudia, also joins us for the conversation. The impetus for this episode came at the suggestion of Master Guns Quinteros and the recognition of the strength and resolve it took for the Barajas family to stay the course after the tragic and unexpected loss of their beautiful daughter, Caprice. A key theme throughout the interview is the overwhelming support of one another we enjoy within the military community. As I listened to the Barajas family story, it reminded me of the ubiquity of the sentiment I've been discussing with guests on this podcast from the very beginning. You tell me who you walk with, I'll tell you who you are. Admin note, I recently made the decision to test drive Bonfire, a t-shirt fundraising platform, mostly as a delivery vehicle to get merchandise into the hands of game changers across the fleet. We'll give it a run and see if it's a good fit. I opted for a simple text-based design on the front only. Take a look and tell me what you think at bonfire.com/top-game-podcast. There'll be a link in the show notes. The campaign window closes in about 7 days, so don't delay. Disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed on Top Game are those of the producers or the guests appearing on the program and do not reflect the views and opinions of the United States Marine Corps or the Department of Defense. Thanks for tuning in. You got a White Russian? She said lady said she wanted something with,
she liked it.
Galore.
I like that one. I like that one.
But the White Russian is vodka. I think it was Bailey's. Yeah, whatever.
Look, babe, I gotta get cards done.
That's for you.
It's for me?
Yeah.
What you get cards done? What are you gonna put on your card?
No, I'm supposed to. I seriously, I'm supposed to have my my ROTC instructor card.
So when I went through JMAS, they tried to like polish me up. They said this is how you present your card with two hands.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was kind of like
I would.
awkward.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the
Proper way.
just throw it at them. Yeah, you're not supposed to do that.
Like most people just scoot up the little holder. There you go, my card. This is really nice.
Well, you think about it, like, there's a lot of stuff they cover, man. Like, in those cloud magazines.
There's a lot of stuff that what?
There's a lot of stuff they cover when they do stuff like that. Like, hey, do it this way, do it that way. Yeah. Some might pay attention, but it's really one of those things where it doesn't matter.
Simon doesn't like formalities. Just a strong handshake, and that's all you need.
Eye contact. You gotta have eye contact.
Well, he does have eye contact and a strong handshake, but you really don't like formalities. You don't do well. You're uncomfortable.
It's 26 years in the Marine Corps. I think I am comfortable with formalities.
No, you've told me yourself that you don't like it.
Well, talking about some things, not everything.
We're so opposite. I am like the most open book you'll probably ever meet, and he is like completely closed off.
That's why, bud. That's why, baby.
That's how we get along. Babe, it's gonna be 30 years, March 23rd.
30 years y'all been married?
30 years, no, together.
30 years together.
Together. 30 years. Okay, we have this argument each time it comes up.
30 years already.
30 years.
1989. Oh, well, 26 Marine Corps, and then.
Yes, sir.
So y'all dated for 4 years before you joined the Marine Corps?
We've known each other. You're gonna say since when? Since kindergarten?
It's the same
since
thing.
kindergarten?
I was 13 and he was 14.
I say we've known each other since middle school, so junior high. Back in the day when there was a junior high.
Well, yeah.
Junior high. There's no junior high.
1989.
There's no junior high. Now it's middle school, which is just an extension of elementary.
So what did you think when he decided he was going to join the Marine Corps?
I didn't like it.
Why?
Because all I knew from the Marine Corps was his brother, and seeing Martha crying and missing Rick. And then I was like, I'm not going to go through
Wait, but did we actually discuss? Like, what would it... We weren't even...
You did tell me you're going, and I said, if you go,
Yeah, but
then we're breaking
I was
up.
in high school. You were like...
Yeah, you said that.
So I wasn't tracking this. So your brother Rick was in the Marines?
Mm-hmm.
My older brother. Did we go back? So here we go.
First one was...
Here we go. Barajas family, Marine Corps. Starts with my cousin Tio. He is my dad's sister's son. He joined the Marine Corps in 80, somewhere in the 87. He joined, he was the first one in our whole family, chain family, to join the Marine Corps. He joined, he was Mortar T, went to El Toro, was stationed in El Toro. He was, now that I've been in the Marine Corps, now he's one of those type where like, fuck the suck. I don't like the Marine Corps. Got out as a corporal. He was gonna start it. So he went in a year or 2 years later, my brother, which he's about a year younger than him, my older brother, joined. My brother joined because it was a choice. Either you go to jail or you go in the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm.
So he got in the Marine Corps. It was like that last few years where you got that choice. And it wasn't really a choice from the judge. It was like the public defender said, he's wanting to go in the Marine Corps. Can you give him an opportunity? So it was like, all right, if you don't make it through boot camp, you come back and go to jail. So he got in the Marine Corps. This was 86, I think, right before Iraq. He went into Toro. He was aviation supply, got in there. And then from there, that's what kicked it off. Then after him, it was me. Then it was my cousin Beto. And then it just... from there now, I was like...
No, after
like
that...
15 pictures.
After that, it stopped.
Well, after that then it was just kids.
Children.
Then it was our kids. Yeah, because then my brother's...
Your youngest brother's kid.
No, not him first.
Adam?
Rick's. Yeah, so then my brother, he retired as a gunny. He did 20 years, retired as a gunny, aviation pilot. His daughters, 3 daughters, joined the Air Force. Then my youngest brother's son joined the Marine Corps. My cousin Beto, that was in the Marine Corps. His son joined the Air Force.
Mabel's son joined the Marine
Then my cousin's kid joined the Navy. My other cousin's kid joined the Air Force.
I don't know what other kid.
Then it just blew up. Okay, but anyways, in our chain it was my cousin that started, then my brother, then me, then my cousin, and those were the 4.
But within y'all's family, both of your boys are currently active duty
Navy.
in the service. One in the Navy, one in the Marines.
Yep, the oldest went to the Navy. He was getting too comfortable in my basement, getting C's and D's off of my freaking money. So
You're so
he needed to go to the Navy.
Well, if it's the truth.
He decided to go to the Navy.
My bad man.
Hey, but you know what? I give it to him. He didn't choose just any job. He chose gunner's mate. So he's a gunner's mate. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
So yeah.
And your other son, what MOS is he?
Combat engineer.
Combat engineer.
Combat engineer. Believe it or not, I was pushing him towards Intel because he scored pretty high. I think he scored like a 70 in the ASVAB. So he was up there.
Yeah.
And I actually called up there. Who was up there? Who was up at the depot doing the
screening?
The screening at the time. Well, shit, who was up there last year? Whoever was up there, I was going to call him. I told my son, I was like, hey, no matter what MOS you get, I'm going to call him and tell him to try and pull you. He's like, no, don't do that. I don't want to do what you did.
I don't want to do what you did.
He's like, I want to be a Marine like you, but I don't want to do the job that you did. It doesn't sound interesting to me. He's like, I want to be... He thought he could go into MARSOC, Lars. I just want to go to MARSOC.
I know.
I was like, you realize I was in MARSOC as an intel bubba. Nah.
An operator.
As a door kicker, as he put it. I want to be a door kicker. You know what that means? It's like, no, I heard you say it one time, so.
Yeah, it sounded cool. The guy that kicks down the doors. Go hunts the bad guys.
But no, he's happy now. He's a combat engineer, so that's cool. And he actually got in there because you know how when you get in, it's only the engineer field, so you don't know what you're gonna get. So he lucked out and got what he wanted, which was dealing with explosion stuff, explosive stuff. So.
I don't know. I don't know if the military is a good fit for my boys. Enrique's almost too rigid, and Vicente's too flexible. I mean, I think it would be good for them either way, even if it was just for like one enlistment, or if they got the degrees, pursued a commission, did their time, and then got out, go do something else. But I don't think either of them have the desire or the, how do I want to put it, the hard-headedness to stick it out and make a career of it, because there's a certain amount of there's a significant amount of selflessness that you have to put in.
But I think you've raised them to a point where they know they have plenty of other options.
That's true.
That's not, that. Do you have a lot of military in your family?
I have more, yes.
That they know about, that they grew up with?
No, because they didn't. Well, so my brother-in-law, their Uncle Ronnie, like I was mentioning, on Liz's side, that's close to them, right?
But they were out. They served and they're out.
So their Tío Jose, my brother-in-law, he joined right after I did. So I mean, he was around, like in Camp Lejeune, they lived right down the street from us. So I mean, there's a recent family history of service in the Marine Corps that they were exposed to.
So yeah, I think ours, because they had it. I think that big influence, because they saw it in the Tío Red, me, and the Tío Beto, which us three, that was
enough.
Tío Beto was like a brother, so it was like he was part, and it was just us. That was it. Anywhere we went, so that's what they saw, that's what they thought. So in their eyes, not in my oldest, but in my youngest, I think since a young age, he already saw, I was like, that's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to do, because he saw his Tío Beto, he was a drill instructor, I was a drill instructor, and that's what kind of fascinated him. And like, Beto has a strong personality.
But don't you think that also being a military family and always moving from one base to another, and we grew as a family with other non-family.
Yeah, but he had that too. But that's what I'm saying, on top of that, before, you know what I mean? Because I think ever since they were born, they saw that. It's like coming up.
Yeah. But our oldest doesn't, he never wanted to join the military. We gave him different options. He's into sports. He loves football. And I said, babe, be a sports newscaster. Be a journalist in sports. Do like something to do with sports. And he was like, yeah. It was like, I think he wanted it to be, he didn't want to mix his pleasure with work. And he was like, this is fascinating. It makes me happy. I don't want to be in a position where I now have a deadline. I have to do this in order to make a living. I wanted to continue to be fun for me. He had all these ideas. I want to get into business management and open up a chain of this, and that. And he always had all these ideas. But at the end, he was like, you know what? I'm already going to be an adult. And I feel like I still need somebody to guide me. I still need that push. And I can't be here at home and expect that. Why don't I just join the military? But he says, I want all the benefits that Dad has, all his benefits, but I don't want to be yelled at and pushed at. And I don't want to go, he's all like, I'm not into physical fitness. I'm not into all these hardcore regulations. And I'm not gung-ho, let's work out and look at my muscles and rah, 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 rah. He goes, I don't want to bark at people. People bark at me. He's also, I'm going to join the Navy. I said, okay. He used to Google Navy videos all the time, right? Like boot camp. And he was like, I think I could do this. Yeah, it seems it seems like something I could do. He joins, and my poor baby. Once he got out, he was like, Mom, I wanted to quit. Like, it was so hard. Like, I really thought, it was nothing like the videos. He got sick right when he got there, so they quarantined him. Is that what they did? And
he got sent back.
He got sent back.
Sick bay?
He got sick bay quarantine and he got set back like a week or two.
Okay.
Yes, and we didn't know anything about him. Like, we didn't know what was going on with him. Saul had to call, make some phone calls, and figure out where he was at. They told us he wasn't doing well. Well, within that time, he had already done a week of boot camp, which supposedly in the Navy, the first week was the worst one. So now he had to start all over again. And he said that they were making fun of him and like going, you're disgusting. Nobody touch him. Don't go around him. And you guys laugh. And as a mother, I want to go freaking chop somebody's neck off.
You got the cooties.
Nasty recruit.
Yes. You guys are horrible.
It's just funny because I see that.
I wish there was another female in the room that was a mother. She wouldn't think it's funny. And
but you know what? I mean, sometimes they need to hear that they're a shitbird. Mm-hmm. So they fix themselves.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's as abrasive as that could sound, mm-hmm. to hear somebody say that about,
my son,
your baby, mm-hmm. right?
It's like the sports right now. Everybody's a winner. No, you're not. Everybody don't need to get a trophy, damn it. Right?
But he, then he said that he was ready to quit because he just felt like it was he's like, I felt like I regretted my choice. He's on the day that I decided that I wanted to quit, they issued us uniforms. And I put on my uniform and I looked in the mirror. He goes, and I felt so proud. He goes, and I felt like I can't take this away from my mom and dad. Like if I'm proud, I know they're going to be really proud. So he's like, I'm just going to stick it out. You're fine. You've only got this much time to go. So he did. And then he got out and he had this pride in him that he never had before. Before he left, he was really self-conscious about his weight and how everybody in the family was moving forward, and he felt like he was just stuck. So when he graduated, we went to his graduation, he was just a complete different person. And I was like, that's great. And he still carries that. There's times where he gets a little down, but, he always says, like, I've got a roof over my head. Doesn't matter what they have me do. I'm getting paid. I got benefits. I'm going to travel the world. He looks at everything positive, as opposed to Tomas, that was ready to go. He was so excited, and he comes back from boot camp and he's got all these horrible, just stab me in the heart stories that I seriously want to go find every single freaking drill instructor and hijos de la chingada. They just, no. But he's happy. He's happy. That makes him happy. He connects with his dad in a level that I can't connect with him anymore. Yeah. They call each other late at night. They FaceTime, and they've got all these stories, and it's beautiful. Like, I love that they have a connection, and they have this bond, and it's nice. They had it before, but not like now.
The trip is, I didn't guide them towards that. Mm-mm. At all. I was guiding them away from that.
Both of them.
That's why the oldest was doing school.
But that may have been what pushed them towards it.
Well, I didn't say don't join them. I said, I prefer you get your degree first. Because you're going to need that. Because that was the thing. It's like a diploma ain't shit anymore. It's like the associates is your new diploma. Then from there, you're going to get your bachelor's. So that's 2 years after. Get your freaking degree. It's like kids nowadays don't grow up till they're like 22. So the new 18 is like 22.
26.
So that's what I kept telling them.
Right.
But, with our situation, they lost interest of school, and it's like they needed to be active. They had to be active all the time.
What do you mean, our situation?
So with Caprice, losing their sister. And it affected them differently, but that's the thing, that they couldn't have. I try to help him as much as possible. I don't want to do the whole sit in the room and talk to somebody. Talk to me. Just work it out. But they needed to be active. So that's why like Tomas got into boxing, or I got him into boxing, was doing the skating. Batman was doing the football, rugby, all this stuff. So, but then they got to the point where, okay, school was just not, Batman was the one that's had more difficulty focusing. Because obviously a lot of stuff would just bring stuff,
surfacing.
Bring it up, yeah. It was surface ideas, surface, remembering. And then for Tomas, he could focus, but school was just not for him. So then it was like, all right, well, cool. They knew. I said, hey, school money's not gonna be an option, right? I said, that's not a problem. You're gonna go to school, both of you. It's like it's already set. So don't worry about, you're not gonna make it. I gotta keep working. None of that. So they knew that I wanted them to go to school first, and they had it. But Batman, the oldest, he graduated. He's like, I don't want to go to school right away. I just want to work. And then when you work, that's fine. Then I was like, hey, what's the next step? Because this minimum wage job is not cutting it.
Right.
Because all your money that you're using for you is just for your personal items. I'm not charging you rent. You're not paying for a car. None of this. So don't think you're making it. Don't think, I'm good with $200 in my pocket, because you're not paying for food, not paying for none of that stuff. So little by little, I kept bugging him about that. And then he started the school, started college, started going, same thing. He just couldn't focus. He had to be doing other stuff. So finally, that's when it was like, all right, you kind of wasting money. Don't waste it anymore. Pick something, so.
But he didn't want to, though. He was afraid of jumping into the military life that we gave him, that he says he didn't enjoy.
What, he was afraid to jump into it?
To jump into a military life, to become active duty.
Right.
He goes, what if I meet somebody and if I get married? He goes, and what am I going to do for them? Like what you guys did for us, jump around from one place to another. He's like, I don't have what my cousins have. They all grew up together in the same community. The people that went to elementary, junior high, high school, now they're going to college together. They all grew up together. They went to grandma's house, Tia's house, Tio's house, and we didn't.
Oh yeah, that was the thing.
He said, and I want to move back to California, and I just want to know my family all over again and do things with them and be a part of how they grew up. That's what I want for my kids and for my future.
He just slowly but surely, he knows now, he's a procrastinator. And that's what I want him to understand. Because he was like, well, I want to do this. That's cool. Do it. Make it happen. But it was, I want to do this. Dad laid it all out for me and tell me how to do it. No, it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
So he would always come over, I want to do this. That's awesome. Do it. And then nothing would happen. And then
So how old were they when they both enlisted?
One was 20. The oldest was 20, the other one was 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was 23 when I enlisted. When I told my dad, what he told me was...
You were late, fool.
Yeah, I was late.
It's never too late.
He told me, he says, well, you ain't doing shit around here. You feel comfortable talking about Caprice?
Yeah.
What comes into your mind when I say the name Caprice?
Of course, my beautiful daughter's face. That's what comes to mind. Smile. Of course, freaking pain.
Yeah. So when I messaged you this morning, it was in order to get your approval about the fact that me and Vince had discussed the tragedy that your family endured. Now it feels like many years ago, but I don't know, it also feels like it was just yesterday too. You know, and Vince was really uncomfortable about the fact that we had talked about it on the episode, and he wanted me to strike it. And I was like, well, hold up. I think that there's something there in that verbal exchange between you and I as we contemplated what I was going through when Liz was undergoing 16 hours of breast cancer surgery. You know, she had a unilateral mastectomy with a tran flap, and they were rearranging parts all over her body. And I was concerned, like, what if I lose this woman? What if this surgery is not successful? Could I still have it in me to continue on and raise my boys in this gun club of ours? And Vince had, you know, mentioned that, you know, it's like Saul, you know, who lost his daughter and still stayed in the pocket, still held it down, led Marines, did great things, and endured in spite of what they went through, because it was just who he was. And so when I reached out to you today, you know, what were your thoughts when I brought that up?
So, well, I mean, right off the bat, you know, it's one of those things like, oh, you know, these somebody cares, right? Somebody actually cares,
right?
And it's not just anybody. Obviously, you and Quinteros will go back, even though we only saw ourselves for a short period of time. But it's just that bond that we have, right? So it feels good, you know, to know that, you know, somebody actually cares. And I'll fast forward a little bit, just listening to that interview with Quinteros, and that after you guys said that and listening to it afterwards, it's like, well, he went through some stuff too, right? So it's we right away think, oh, I couldn't. But it's like everything. Say we're going to deploy, we're going on this mission, and we know odds are against us. Are we really going to be like, oh, I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm going to make it through this. I really don't. No. Right? You got to be put in a situation. You don't know how you're going to react till you put in a situation. So, it's not easy at all. And it's still not easy. It wasn't easy and it's not easy. But there's... Then it's the whole, am I going to be selfish? You know, it's not their fault. Why am I going to make my kids, my wife, suffer more, right? I've been taught, I know how to endure pain, how to get through hard situations. So...
And how's that? You swallow it?
I swallow it to hold it to when it's the right time. Because, you know, like we've been taught, you can't just hold on to it because then it's going to burst. You got to let it out. So you got to be able to plan, be like, all right, right now is not the time. It's not the time. Right now there's other priorities. So you prioritize, right? I'm glad that I have that mental strength to be able to do that and focus on something else. I mean, you put yourself in granted, I wasn't in a battlefield where there's smoke and all this stuff, right? But yeah, I went through some situations, right, when I was up there. But you put yourself in there, and it's like, all right, this just happened. What am I going to do? What's next? Do I just ball up and just give up? No. Right? It's just the same thing, same mentality. So I wasn't gonna be selfish and just think about myself. Right? Just easily start the bottle, hit the bottle. It's like forget about stuff, but no. So looking at, you know, my boys and my wife, I had to control the situation. So that's.
So you saw it as your obligation to be the kind of like the rock for the family.
Yeah. Yeah.
He still does.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you got to.
I heard second and third hand what happened. But I never had the heart to ask you what exactly transpired, other than like when we had that one conversation inside your office, we closed the door and broke open the canalismo, and I just said, hey, you know, because I couldn't send a message over fucking Facebook or text or pick up a phone. It's just, the way that I was raised, that's just inappropriate.
But I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't also just me saying I gotta do this. That support that we have, I'll tell you, for freaking First Radio at the time, Studer, First Son Studer, you know, the whole chain of command. I mean,
they were such a
fuck, bro. It was just fucking outstanding.
They made it better.
Yeah, I mean, to start off with the tank commander, he was like, take all the fucking time you need. He was like, if anybody comes and asks, don't worry about it. You take all the time you need. That was a huge help. And then Studer, you know, and then my boy A2 for Charnay. He fucking, they were just there. They made it easy. And I was set already to take out Charlie Company. I was gonna go out. And right away.
To Afghanistan?
Yeah. So it was my thought process right when it happened, right? Okay, I got this much time to take care of my family, put them back, put them in a set mode to where like, hey, we're good, so that I can deploy, because I'm set for deployment. Right? Studer right away is all right. Don't fucking think that you're gonna go on this. I was like, that's why I'm on it, because nobody else can go. I'm gonna go. No, you can't. And back then, you know, thinking when all that shit's going on, I'm thinking that's the right thing. All right. You know, like I said, you know, you get yourself, this happened, what's next? Mind's racing, what I gotta do. All right. Hey, not thinking that not everybody reacts the same way. Talking about my kids, my wife. My thought process was like, all right, this happened, this gotta happen next, this has to happen. I'm gonna leave them set, get on that bird, get over there, mission accomplished, stay in communication, come back, and then continue with what just happened here, right? What just happened here. That's me, being selfish, not thinking about my boys, my wife, right, family. So Studer, I mean, almost went to the point where I was like, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face, you keep saying that. And he's like, no, you need to stay back and take care of this. So that time, I mean, we took what? I didn't go to work for what, like 2 months? Probably like 2 months. It was like a month, and then I was ready. I went to show up. Colonel's all like, go home. You're not ready yet. And not the fact that he saw me work. He didn't even just let me come in the battalion, because I went straight to his office. I was like, nope, go. So I think I took about 2 months, maybe. So 2 months, able to settle everything, you know, got stuff going on. It's like, all right, well, what am I gonna do next? I was already close to the 20. You know, am I done? Do I get out? Can I focus? Can I not focus? Once things settled a little bit, then I eased up, going back to the battalion, getting in there. That was gonna be kind of awkward, I thought, you know, because number one, I was supposed to go to the deployment. I didn't go. 2, now I'm back. Now I'm gonna be looked at like, oh, poor you, this. And I don't want that shit. I don't want that shit at all. I didn't.
You're such a fucking hard ass.
I don't want that shit. If that's gonna happen, then just fucking tell me to get out. So I get in there, get back. I go straight to, you know, the chain of command. Tell them, like, hey, everything's good. I mean, it's not good, but it'll work out.
You need to get back.
I need to do something. So I was like, I need this. So yeah, and luckily we know when we got somebody that comes to that, and it's like, okay, what do you want, right? You want me to act like you want me to act? Cool. Like you want me as normal, you want to treat you normal, it'll happen. And that's what I got from Radio Battalion, right? A few here and there that still were, felt bad and then kept bringing it up. Not that I say, hey, don't bring it up at all. It was just the fact that let's move on, let's move forward, right? And the question was, is he gonna stay? Because I was close to getting re-enlisted. Or either am I gonna get out or am I gonna re-enlist? So that was a big thought process. If I get out right now, even though I think I'm all right, I know I'm not. And as soon as I find myself sitting in the house, first of all, I'm not gonna be able to do another job because I'm at the point where if I go and get a job, and so whoever's gonna be my boss says the wrong thing, I'll probably break the fucking neck, right? Because I'm not at that stage mentally. So I'm better off staying in here, doing what I know, doing what I love. Marines keeping me distracted, knowing that Marines need me, and that thought process of, hey, I need them, they need me. So I'm still being needed. I can't focus on what happened, right? So I got to keep moving. So that's what brought the whole, all right, I am going to re-enlist. I'm going to re-enlist, I'm going. But I thought they're not going to let me re-enlist because they're going to think I'm not going to, So talking to first sergeant Studer, I talked to the captain at the time, my staff, chief warrant officer. We were up there, and I said, hey, I need you guys to tell me, because I'd already been back a couple months. I said, I need you guys to tell me where my performance is. If you guys think I need to get out, tell me now. Because if you see me that I'm not focused, I'm not doing how, I'm not working how I used to work. And I said, let me know. I'm gonna take it as good advice, and I'm gonna roll with it. So like, your performance has not changed. So that's all we're gonna say. We're not gonna tell you that, hey, you should stay, you go, because that's something internal to you. But your performance has not changed. So, put in my package, and luckily it got accepted, it got re-enlisted. And then it was from there. Then, I sat down with Vega, Machine Guns Vega at the time. And I was like, he was actually the one that I said, hey, if you don't think this is a good idea, you need to let me know. And he's all like, I think it's time for you to go to MCSB. Go over there and, go to Company B, and then that'll be good for you. Me, I thought, no, I need to stay here, blah, blah, blah. He's like, no, you're gonna do this, you're gonna go up to Company B. So I took his advice. It was cool. But it's like, it worked out great. I'm glad. My strength came also from, at that time, I really dedicated or changed my faith, because if I didn't change it, I think it was an automatic change, right? I really had to think that my daughter is in heaven and she's waiting for me. She didn't just go away from this earth.
But before that, you didn't feel that there was an afterlife? Or?
So I did. I was brought up Catholic, right? But it was on and off, right? On and off.
You weren't committed to that.
Correct. I wasn't fully committed.
You could have.
I wasn't fully committed. I mean, I tried my best to teach my kids
and your wife
like I was taught from my mom. So that's what I try. But sometimes life things took priority to me, which it shouldn't, right? It's like, oh, I'd rather go out Saturday night and be hungover on Sunday so I can go to church on Sunday. So priority shifted. And that's where, you know, talking to chaplains, talking to priests, got me thinking more, made me more responsible with my faith. And that helped too. That helped. And I've gotten more strong on that aspect. Really understanding, reading more into it. And just getting stronger with my faith, and that's what really gets me through. And it's not that it gets easier, it's more tolerable, I guess. Don't get me wrong, there's days where excuse me, there's days where it's like it just happened, and there's breakdowns. There is. But then I think, you know, everything happens for a reason. Everything. Because I had these plans. After being a drill instructor, I said, there's no way the community wants me anymore. I'm going to be a first sergeant, come back and retire 20 years out of the parade deck, and I'm done. Then I'm going to go be a post office, work for the post office, I'm done. That was my plan. That didn't happen that way. So a lot of these things that I try to force and say, this is what's going to happen. This is what I'm going to do for me. It wasn't happening. And, you know, like I said, talking to chaplains, talking to priests, my mother, people of faith, they say, hey, God has a plan for you. And you just got to keep going. And ask and try to work your way through that. You know, he's going to guide you. If you're going the wrong way, you're going to know. You're going to feel it. And that's kind of what's been helping me since then. I've trusted that. I've trusted those feelings. I mean, even just lately, it was like after what was it when I said I was going to retire, when I already put in papers the first time, sent off Claudia and Tomas to California. So that's it, I'm done, I'm retired. Me and Bam stayed because he was in school, so me and Bam stayed here, then went to California. I said, go find a place, I'll be there 8 months once I retire. Bro, for some reason, we couldn't find a house. We just couldn't. I don't know if it was we just didn't want to settle for something, or we just couldn't find the right thing, but you know, economically it wasn't working out, and I was forcing it. No, this is what has to happen. This is what has to happen.
I mean, we're trying to buy the home that she grew up in, that she loved. We were trying to go back to that house that we sold years before. And we were so set on this is the house we need because this is where a lot of her best memories were at.
Yeah, so.
But it just wasn't happening. 6
months later, it was like, she was like, I can't be on my, cause she was staying with her sister. Like, I can't be here anymore. I said, well, fucking come back. And we had already moved out of the house. Me and my dad moved to the small apartments that they had before me, Reach Crossing. And so.
He had a roommate.
Yeah, that's the.
Jimenez.
And the chief.
It was a 2-bedroom apartment. They were sharing a room.
Because he was on his way out too. So we're like, dude, you're leaving in 6 months. I'm leaving in 6 months. You're leaving in 8 months.
Yeah.
Let's just share this apartment. Like a bachelor pad, me, Bam, and him. Like, cool. let's do it. So we did it. 8 months later, she comes back. She's like, I can't do it. I was like, well, come back. Fuck it. We'll figure it out. Came back. When she got back, that's when I had the class. That's when they came up. They're like, hey, if you retire, all this money gonna come out. So think about it, right? If I would have forced this, I retire, I just bought a house. I'm counting on this money, not knowing that because I didn't complete my 4 years, Marine Corps is gonna take back this money, or the VA is gonna take back the 60 Gs. How? I didn't know. If they did it like they do pay, hey, fucking no pay due. I got a mortgage to pay, I'm fucking screwed. So that right there got me thinking too, okay, God's got a plan. It's like he knows better. I don't.
Definitely.
Came back, right? So now I got Claudia here. I was like, okay, we'll figure it out. Then it started getting a little bit crowded. Jimenez found, he retired. He went to Texas. We're sitting there in that 2-bedroom apartment, which is good because now brothers are sharing one. Me and Claudia got ours. We're staying in there. But it got crowded. We got dogs. We got all this shit. And it's fucking crowded. And then it came to where, okay, everything was fixed. I was authorized to, extend, got my 2 years. All right, what are we gonna do then? All right, so now we'll wait 2 years. When I'm finally done, then we'll go to California. We'll just all pack up and go. We'll start getting clothes. Batman was doing
like the
school.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, exactly. In my fucking van, which Tiff knows about that van. Fucking talking about my van all the time. I hope he listens to this. Anyway, so now I'm thinking, okay, I'm even getting stronger with my faith, or I'm thinking, hey. So now I'm feeling a little bit better, right? I talk to my daughter every day, so it's so that helps me too, and it's like things happen, so it's like shit, this is real, it's real, so that helps me too to get to this, and so now I'm trying to push. Okay, 2 years from now we're gonna go to California. I'm retired. We're all gonna pack up and go. Well, getting closer to it, now it's, all right, what am I gonna do? Do I need to work? Then it starts getting closer. Batman's in school. Now we gotta find him an apartment because he's gotta stay here to finish school because he's not gonna transfer over there. Then I'm also not sure if he's gonna go in the Marine Corps or not. So then we decided, we're like, all right, well, we're a year out, we're like a year and a half out. We're like, well, let's just buy a house. Compared to how we try to do it in California, here, 60 days, we were in a new house. Like that. So it was like, how was it so freaking hard?
You feel that that's part of God's doing, that he feels that this was our path to...
Yeah. I mean, it step by step. It was like, no, you're not ready to go. You're not going to leave when you retire. Go look for a house, buy a house. You're here. Boom, done. Mm-hmm. Then we got this house, and I'm like, I don't want to be here. We're going to go. We're going to leave. Now we need to have a home for the boys to come back to after boot camp, which worked out great, exactly, because they went to boot camp. They're like, I want to go home. First, before they left, they're like, oh, I'm going to be on leave. I'm going to go to California.
They said they weren't coming back after boot camp, that they were going to take their time off and go to California. One said, I'm going to go visit my girlfriend. The other one said, when you guys come for my graduation, don't plan on me going back with you guys. I'm going to do my thing.
They came home.
After boot camp, they couldn't wait to come home, get in their rooms.
So long story short, bro, is God has a plan for us. And I strongly believe that. And he has been my rock, and I strongly believe that, and that's how I've been able to cope and get through with it. When on top of course, that awesome support that I had from the unit, family, it's in my and God, of course.
But you know what? To touch on that, the whole Marine Corps family thing, I don't feel that we went through the same thing a civilian would go through if they would lose a child. Because, in the civilian world, most people don't have life insurance on their kids, right? And they don't have the support. And so when the child passes away, now they're left with, I need to pay for this, and that. And in our situation, when our house burned down, when the civilian world, you're going to go to your family's house or you're asked out, right?
Right.
And in the military life, as soon as God took it away from us, so quickly, all our belongings, our memories from all our life, it just got taken away along with our daughter and our dogs. And as soon as he took it away, he put a community, the strangers, people that I've never even met. It's like God just put all these people together and they just reached out to us. It's like from the moment the fireman came and told us, or the fire girl, when she came and she gave us the news, it was like we got in the car, we drove off, and we had somewhere to go. People were already working behind the scenes. Let's get them an apartment, or let's get them a hotel room. Let's bring them this. Let's bring them supplies. Let's bring them... And things just started...
Like a mission execution checklist.
It was amazing. Everything you could ask for, people were bringing. And then monetary gifts as well, which they seem so materialistic, but they're so useful. And people that we didn't even know were just coming over and bringing us things. And then as soon as we got that apartment, the hotel, then they said, we have a furnished apartment for you guys. Great. They arranged family members. They called family members. Everybody was on top of it. Then after that, they provided us with a house. We move into this house, and my goodness, we have couches. We have pots and pans. We've got everything essentials that you need for a home. And I did not have to buy anything. I didn't have to go off and cry and say, now I have to replace nothing. This community of strangers, Marine Corps family, just were there for us. And they did a ceremony for Caprice. Is it called a light vigil?
Mm-hmm.
In front of the house after, they boarded up everything, the tape and all. And then our community came to our cul-de-sac and they did the candle lighting and they did a prayer, and that was very sweet. After that, they did on the parade deck, they did a ceremony for Caprice. They announced it. A lot of people came over. A lot of people came by to give us their condolences, and they asked us if we wanted to say something. And I don't know where I got my strength, because I was crying nonstop, but I said, I want to say something. And I got up and I felt this strength, no tears, no nothing. And I just wanted to get up there just to say thank you to all those people that I had no idea who they were, and thank them so much, because once again, in a civilian world, we would be doing a car wash. We would be staying in somebody's house, just inconveniencing them. And in our military world, everything was taken care of. Everything. And it was just, it was great, because again, when you're going through what we went through, the last thing you want to do is, what are we going to eat? Where are we going to sleep tonight? Wait, my boys have to go get shots because school was starting.
Right.
My boys need clothes. They only have the pajamas they were wearing when they fled the house. Like, what? And yet my boys had a bunch of donations, new clothes, used clothes, whatever. It didn't matter, but they had it. And we had everything we needed.
So I probably didn't answer the question you had, bro. What happened? I'm not going to get into details, too many details, because it's really painful. But regular morning, she worked early morning, I worked early morning. We lived in the Fallbrook side of Camp Pendleton, by the lake where the hospital is, in that area.
Lake O'Neill.
Lake O'Neill. So we left early in the morning. My son was 14, she was 13, my other son was 11. Old enough, right? They knew what they had to do. We left early because I was dropping her off about 6 a.m, drop her off at work, all the way across to MCTPX. As she was working. So all the way over to drop her off. we left the house, and I mean, when we were almost getting over there, got the phone call from Bam, and the house on fire, hysterical, like, how the fuck, I just left. What the fuck's happening? Get out of the house. Bust a U-turn, start hauling ass. I'm like, please fucking try to pull me over. I don't give a fuck. Going through there. I mean, it's a long fucking drive. So yeah, we just, house on fire. We're rushing back. Call 911. They're going. And I didn't make it back on time. Fire department didn't make it there on time. My boys were able to get out. And my daughter didn't. So it was almost a freak accident because it never came out what exactly caused the fire because it went up so quick. But that was it. It was.
I mean, they opened up an investigation.
It was a fire, and then and that's what happened. The boys made it out. She didn't. She passed away from smoke inhalation. That's what she passed away from. So that's what it was. That's what she died of. And then that's what happened. After the fact, after the investigation and all that, obviously I was angry. Blaming somebody, trying to blame somebody. Fire department didn't know where they were going. It was their fault, didn't do what they were supposed to. You know,
there was too many pointing fingers. It was a lot of
yeah, but then
they interrogated all of us a little too freaking harsh. And after that, they said it could have been this, and then they said, do you remember anything? And I said, I do remember there was a candle that was lit, but the flame was very low. And I forgot. But once I said that, that's when they stopped everything, and I said that's what it was. But yet, when Bam Bam tells us what he remembers, he said he hears a lot of cracking, like. So then somebody told me that's electrical, right?
So then, yeah, and then the thing is that afterwards, and okay, lawyers, hey, we'll do it for free. It's gonna be hard because you're fighting the fire department, now you're fighting the housing department, all this stuff. Well, I don't care. Somebody to blame. Then it was going to go through the whole court process. Mm-hmm. And then it was it was going to be obviously a fight. And be reminded of. And now I'm angry and we're angry and just pointing the fingers and going back and forth, putting the boys on the stand, getting interrogated. What did you do this? What did you do? And I was like, when it was probably going to come out to be an accident. Why am I going to put my family through this again?
Right.
You know, accept the fact that it was an accident. She's in heaven. Move forward. And that's why also it was like, it was a blessing to leave there at the time that we did, to come over here.
But I think, I really think, remember that night we talked about it, we said, it's just something that's telling me that it's not okay to put the blame on another human being for an accident. Those firemen obviously choose that career path to save lives, not lose them. And they're human. When they get there, mistakes happen. And you can't put our daughter's death on another human being. What is that going to do to their family and their self-esteem? You can't put it on housing either. You can't, because no matter what we thought, we're going to get, let's just say we win this and we get all this money. Now we hurt how many firemen's soul by accusing them of being responsible for our daughter's death? Like, we can't do that. And so at that moment, I remember I was in the same boat as he was. I was pissed and I had to blame somebody and somebody's going to have to answer. And But at the end, it was like, how does that make us feel any better?
It's a beautiful sentiment.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that you were able to come to that in that time.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, you can be overwhelmed with anger and frustration. And when I lost my dad, and I don't know if I mentioned this before, but he was 15 when my parents conceived me. So I grew up with my parents in a lot of ways.
Oh my goodness, your dad was 15?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, he was my best friend. And he died at 50.
Very
right?
young.
To a brain aneurysm. And the commander at the detachment that I was at in Goodfellow encouraged me, forced me, Marine Corps style, right, to go to grief counseling. And I did. And it was one of the few times where I actually like enjoyed cutting out of work to go do something that was for me, right? It's not for my wife, it's not for my kids, maybe by extension, but not directly. It was for me to process, because in the aftermath of of this episode, like, there was a period, because he didn't die instantly. There was several weeks in which it kind of drew out, and he started to diminish over time. And I made the decision to remove him from life support. And it was
very hard.
Easily the hardest thing I ever had to do.
And do you see how when you said, I don't think I could do what we did?
Right.
When you say, I don't know how I could do that. I feel the same way about what you just said. If I had to make the decision on somebody's life, I am telling you right now, I don't think I could do that. I don't feel like I could ever go through life knowing that it was my decision whether that person lived or died. And just like you said earlier, you felt you couldn't go through what Saul went through. Different circumstances.
Yeah.
It's that saying, you don't know how strong you are until
it's required.
Until that's all you can be. Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I took away, there were several things I took away from the grief counseling, but one was that they teach it, that there's this process that it goes through. There's anger and denial and like all these things, but it's not a cycle. Mm-hmm. And the counselor that I spoke with was Mexicano, and the way that he explained it to me, and you're gonna love this, he says, Samuel, es como menudo. When you put your spoon in, and you never know what you're gonna come up with. It could be a little bit of anger. It could be a little bit of frustration. It could be that complete grief, that sadness, that despair. But you'll get all of it eventually when you get down to the bottom of the bowl.
Yeah.
And I thought that was such a beautiful way of putting it, and it stuck with me. But I think that it was amazing how you guys were able to experience that the Marine Corps family came together. But that's how our tribe is.
Yep.
And for the most part, the spouses don't see that until there's a tragedy that takes place on the home front. But out forward, that's how it is. Mm-hmm.
It's two worlds, the civilian world, life, family, and then your Marine Corps family. When we went through everything that we went through, after she passed, I don't know if you know, but we got a divorce. We divorced. A lot of it had to do with her passing and my weakness. He said he was strong. That he thought about not being selfish. I did not. I dealt with it very differently. I wanted to be with her, so I would think of ways to get the boys and him in a car, and all of us, I was just going to go take our lives, right? And my dad talked me out of it. He gave me the best advice, and because of the words he used, I decided that I needed to remove myself from my family so that I wouldn't harm them. And once we divorced, I felt like our civilian family was very judgmental. How are you going to do this to him? You guys just lost your daughter. How could you even put this pain on him? But I didn't want to speak out loud, and I didn't want to say, you don't understand, I'm saving his life. And my boys. Like, I want to commit suicide. I don't want to be here. Like, I didn't know, but I couldn't. But you went to a counselor. I tried to go to a counselor, and I ended up being more pissed off. So I just removed myself. Scientology helped me out a little bit, but we can talk about that later. But my Marine Corps family, those wives were more supportive towards me. They were the ones that were understanding and knowing that, you know, when you have a Marine husband and he's so strong and he's, you know, gung-ho about taking care of his family and being strong, and you as a Marine wife, you know, you had to go through deployments, you had to go through times without him, and you being the only parent, and then now here comes this tragedy, and as a Marine wife or any military wife,
right,
fuck, you break down completely into pieces, and a civilian family doesn't understand that. But a military family, a lot of them got it. And some of my friends were in the Marine Corps family were big supporters. And when Marilyn saved our marriage, when he decided to leave California and he came to Maryland, I followed. We were already divorced, but I followed. And again, I don't know why. It was like I always feel like Caprice is somehow in our hearts and our minds and telling us to do things, and we don't know why we're doing them, but we're just going to do them because there's a little voice in our head telling us to do it. So I did it. We moved out here. We got remarried in Annapolis. And when I announced it, you know, social media, Facebook, we're back together. You know, I just wanted to let everybody know because I don't want all these little talking around. Yeah. I got a lot of fake congratulations, great, blah, blah, blah. But the ones that I felt the more genuine were the Marine wives, the Marine husbands, the Marine Corps families that got to see us more than the civilian families.
Because you knew they understood.
They did. And still to this day, it's like, I love our families, we do. But there's like a bond with the military families that is just untouchable. Because they go with you through so many. Like when we were in North Carolina, I had a group of women that all of our husbands were deployed. And we would sit out there and we would drink. We would see our kids playing in the street, and we would do carne asadas at each other's house. No husbands, just wives. And it was a community. It was nice. And you know, when your civilian family asks you, why don't you want to come back home? Well, this is home. Like, my home is where my family's at, you know, and you begin to learn that as a military family, as you know, that home is where you put your fucking calzones in. That's the spot then that's my home. It's not like in a civilian world. And I feel like us grieving, I think our military family helped out a lot. And I still think they continue to do that for us. I seriously, when he wanted to retire, my heart panicked. I thought this blanket of security, I just felt like, you know, like a U.S. flag on top of you, and it's thick and it's warm. And I just, fuck, they're going to take it off. What am I going to do? But transitioning into now a retired family, it's okay. But it is scary to go back to California. That's where all our memories are at.
Right.
And he's ready to go and face them. Go back to the beach, go back to Oceanside, go back to that area. My heart still thumps. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm comfortable here. I have no memories. When they come, I shut them off if I need to. I embrace them when I have to. But I don't go to the store or go out to a restaurant or go somewhere and go, I see that. And that's what scares me to go back. But I have to. You know, we have to be strong. We have to face it. That's where her body lays. That's where she rests, and we have to go back home. But I feel like we've been lucky, blessed to be in the military. Because of our military lifestyle, the transition after she passed.
In the Marine Corps.
That moment, from the moment you hear, I'm sorry, she didn't make it, to the moment that you bury your child, they made that transition just very, very smooth. There's a lady in particular, and I don't know her name, She's the one that just hooked everything up. Do you remember? This woman came to our hotel room with dolphins. Caprice.
Oh, it was,
You do know her name?
I don't know her name, but she was from
the Marine Corps Relief, or no? She was part of the Relief Society or something like that.
Navy Marine Corps Relief Society? No?
The Marine Corps Fund.
Oh, yeah, something with the word fund. I can't remember, but this lady came to our hotel. She brings us a box full of pillow pet dolphins. And I'm like, what the? Caprice loves these. Like, how did you pick these? And she said, well, I had a dream that I should go buy pillow pets. She says, for your family. And she brought this ginormous box. And she says, I went to Walmart and I was like, okay, I had this dream to come buy pillow pets, but what do I get? And she was like, the dolphins just stood out to her.
Semper Fi Fund.
Semper Fi Fund.
That's I was getting ready to...
Yeah, Semper Fi Fund. She brings over this big box, and I was just blown away. And I started to cry, and I said, do you know that my daughter, every time we went to Walmart, she would beg her dad and I for a dolphin pillow pet, and we would always tell her, no, Caprice, you have so many stuffed animals, get rid of some and then we'll buy you. He's like, gosh, Mom, come on, Dad. And we would always say no, but yet this lady shows up with all these pillow pet dolphins. That was one. Then secondly, the day that we're gonna bury her, I didn't want to leave my room. I didn't want to go, and here comes my sister with a note. And she says, this lady came and dropped this off. And I read the note, and it was a note from a daughter to her mother. And it was handwritten, and I was just blown away. I was like, who brought this? And she was like, oh, it was that lady, that blah, blah. So I called her, and I said, I don't understand. And then she goes, Claudia, she says, I always wake up, and I have to have my coffee, and I need to go to the bathroom, brush my teeth. Blah, blah. She goes, I have a routine that I go through. She goes, I had a dream that night. No, that morning, she goes, it woke me up, and I had to take out a paper and a pen and just start writing what was coming to my head. She goes, and I had to bring it to you. She says, ask your sister who answered the door. I was in my pajamas and slippers. I just rushed over here like I had to come bring it to you. And I was like, wow, this letter was the one that got me to have strength to go to the cemetery and go bury my daughter. Without that letter, I couldn't have done it. And then it didn't stop there either. After we buried her, you know how you go back and you gather and there's food and people are,
right.
You know. So we go, it was a community center in... kind
of like a wake.
Yeah. It was at the community center there on base. When we walk in, there's this dry silver tree welcoming us with sand dollars hanging from the branches. And on the sand dollars is her name and her birthday. And I looked over at her godmother, which is Saul's oldest brother's wife. And I said, oh my gosh, we both looked at each other. We were so shocked. Just a couple months ago, Caprice was talking about her quinceañera. And she had said, for my quinceañera, for the favors, she says, I want to have a big dry tree with sand dollars hanging from them. And I want people to just walk in and grab them. And that's going to be their souvenir. They could hang it in their car, blah, 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 blah. The only two people that knew of this was myself and her godmother. And yet this lady, I asked Martha, I said, did you tell her? She goes, no, Claudia, I thought you told her. I said, I didn't tell her anything. We didn't post it on Facebook, nothing. This lady just knew, right? And then we walk into the center and we have seashells and all kinds of just beautiful pictures of her everywhere, and everything's sea life. She's my little mermaid. Everybody knew she was loved the ocean and she was my mermaid, right? And to walk in there and to see this place so beautiful, full of like ocean theme, everything. And I thought, who is this lady? How does she know? How does she just touch every little detail? It was just perfect. And again, she was another Marine wife, right? I mean, she ran the Marine Corps. What did you call it? GoFund? What is
Super
it?
5 Fund.
Super 5.
Yeah, the Super 5 Fund.
GoFund.
Go fund me.
And, you know, I feel like Caprice just worked with us in her cute little ways, and I feel like she still continues to do so, you know, but her presence was extremely strong right after her passing. And through a Marine Corps wife, which again is just, you know, when there's people that are like, I had this, a wife of one of his friends, he just got promoted a couple weeks ago, and she's new to this. She just married him. And she started asking me questions about the Marine Corps, and she's like, do you like it? She's like, because there's so much gossiping, there's so much drama, there's so much this. I don't know if this is a life for me. And I was like, what? You have no idea how lucky you are to be in our family. You have no idea. Like, this Marine Corps family is like the best you're going to have if you utilize it well.
Right.
If you use it towards...
And that's the part, man, it's sometimes hard to manage that. You know, and I've had to tell Liz, like, esa mujer, yeah. Like, or that family, no.
Yeah.
But
you have
for
to pick and choose.
Yeah, but yeah, you gotta, you know. Maybe it's something that I learned growing up. Like, I only fuck with the few. Mm-hmm. And so, like, Liz and I will hang out with you know, a wide variety of individuals, and we'll get to know them. But the ones that I bring in close, I'm very careful about that.
Yeah.
Porque dime con quién andas. Y te diré
quién eres.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I told her, I said, you have to be cautious about who you tell your secrets to.
Yeah.
You know, and be careful with the whole, well, my husband, his rank is blah, blah, blah. What is yours? That doesn't matter. Those wives don't wear the rank. You're there as...
But they do. They think they do.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
And that's what I told her. You just need to learn. If your heart is telling you, there's something about her I don't like, step away.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of us. I said,
so please
choose.
thank Liz, bro, for what she does, because that's huge, man. That's huge. It's ladies like her that inspire others to continue it, right, and get more to do that stuff. So that's awesome of her.
Yeah, the support, the
No, she's a big advocate. She does a lot of that stuff, and she's...
No, it does. It takes a lot of time. I mean, like, I could honestly tell you I tried to, and I was just wasn't fit for it. You know, when you go to all the meetings, the Marine wife meetings, and then they're like, we need to do this, we need to bake, we need to blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is too much.
So come here with a little fridge in here, man. Little bottles in the fridge.
Nah. You want another one? You want another one? We can pause and go get it.
It's up to you, man.
It's up to you. It's Cyrus' way of saying yes.
So kind of shifting gears, when we were talking earlier, one of the things you mentioned about the occupational field was the concept of the club.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Remind me.
Well, that you kind of felt
Probably
like
said it different.
you were not part of the club.
Oh, okay. So my understanding was being a 21 is being part of a club. Being that operator, that analyst, that intel guru, not just a linguist. You know, those linguists. Which I was comfortable with because I understood. Like, cool. It was just like when I was in the grunts as a field radio operator. Even though we did everything the grunts did because we were attached to them, we were just the battery operated grunts. So to me, it wasn't nothing new. Same shit. Okay. Here I am, a 21 without the MOS, but a linguist at that too, because you still got to do the job the 21 does.
Right.
But as a linguist, so that's what I meant by it.
So I always kind of viewed it as being a 21 plus.
Yep.
Plus flip pay. $400 a month. Get some.
That's awesome. That was funny to me, you know, when there was no both spaces as calm, and I ran into the 112 career jammer. He's like, do you read and write Spanish? Yes. Do you speak Spanish? Yes. Good, I got a job for you. Boom. It's like, wait a minute. You mean to tell me the Marine Corps is going to pay me extra money to read, write, and speak Spanish? Yep. Awesome. Sign me up. Then I get to DLI and it's like, yeah, your Spanish is garbage.
Your Spanish ain't shit.
Yeah. You're talking about Spanglish. We need you to know Spanish, not Spanglish. It's like, shit.
So you actually went through DLI?
Yeah. Yeah, I went over there.
What year?
It was, 96. Yeah, 96. Sent over there. It was an advanced course. So she took the placement test, if there was one. I think there was. I mean, had to be. Then sat in casuals for a while before I got the clearance to start the class. Yeah, it was an advanced course.
Yeah, so I was able to take the advanced course too, and that was legit training.
Mm-hmm.
They did not pull any punches. I had Senor Luis Gonzalez.
El gordito, pelón, like he had glasses, like kind of short, little half ball. No, dark dude.
Luis Martinez.
He rode a motorcycle.
Yeah.
BMW motorcycle.
That's him.
Yep. That guy was awesome, dude.
Man, he was legit.
Yeah, he was.
Panameño. His father was a diplomat.
Well, him and Señora Cuatu, you remember her?
I don't remember her.
She was the lead.
For me, it was him and Rebecca Gonzalez.
I remember.
Jaime Gonzalez's wife.
Oh, Jaime Gonzalez.
Well, his wife.
Okay.
She was legit. They were both legit. He was my instructor for the basic course. And he would, when we would do like our OPI practice, we'd go outside and we'd just walk around the school. We'd take a seat in a bench, and we would just talk.
Just conversate. Yeah.
It was just like being with one of my tios or my grandfather, but more educated. You know, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So when we checked into San Antonio, the Gonzalez's had retired in San Antonio.
Oh, wow.
And we linked up. I got their contact information from some of the instructors that were at the Southwest Learning Center, where our language training for our slates, our significant language training events were being conducted under contract. And they said, oh, Rebecca and Jaime are here. So I got their contact information, got in touch with them. We hung out, I think once or twice while we were there for that time in San Antonio. And it was awesome. And I think for them to see, Gunny Castro now as opposed to Lance Corporal or Corporal Castro.
I bet.
It was a huge change, and they got to see the boys. They didn't know Vicente. They knew Enrique, but we invited them to, it was Vicente's first communion. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. It was Vicente's first communion. They came and they brought gifts and they hung
That's
out.
Awesome, bro.
And, we had a good time.
That's crazy.
But like everything that they instilled in me, and I remember it was, I'd graduated from the basic course, but was still waiting on clearance. Enrique was born, and I brought him home to Texas to introduce him to the family. And I had a conversation with my great-grandmother in Spanish. And bear in mind that like her kids spoke Spanish, but her grandkids didn't, and her great grandchildren, none of them speak Spanish, except for me, because of the Marine Corps.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man, because then you think it's like, damn. And just how quick, man, they will put somebody through that course.
Yeah. And the interesting thing, I didn't know this at the time, but her brother was a Marine.
Really?
That was killed in Korea in 1950. He was 1-1 Charlie Company. PFC Ruben Adame. They called him Sambo because he was very dark. He was like little black Sambo.
Sambo.
Yeah. But I didn't know any of that until we started talking. But because like we had conversations, but we didn't really talk until I started speaking to her in Spanish, And I used to spend a lot of time over at her house, hanging out with my great grandpa and her. But it was just, one of those things that the having the language now, like when I met my father-in-law, because he speaks predominantly Spanish, I spoke predominantly English. We kind of met somewhere in the middle when Liz and I first started dating. But after I learned Spanish and I could get in there with him and actually speak, hold a conversation about lo que sea, like I really got to know who my father-in-law is, and so like to this day, like he defends me hasta la muerte. Like like I can, in my father-in-law's eyes, I can do no wrong. I mean, I would here's not having daughters. To have a son-in-law like you, like me, that's gonna be there to be that rock, to take care of, his baby girl in a way that I think any father would want, dream of, right? Like you hold her in your arms when she's born, and you contemplate that which, she'll match up with.
It's the same for boys though.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Liz's point is, don't you bring no dumb girls home. I don't care what she looks like. She needs to be smart to keep up with you and all that.
So, do your boys know Spanish? Did you push it out to them?
No.
No.
The answer is no.
Same here.
Yeah.
They understand it, they just won't.
Right.
Well, I think it's just the fact that it's not.
Tomás,
I mean, you guys don't speak it, right? I mean, I'm
Liz
sure.
and I do.
But not constant. Like, that's not your. I mean, you probably go back and forth. We do. We go back and forth.
We go back and forth.
Yeah. So
go back and
that's
forth.
what it is.
Yeah.
Tomás understands the word.
Yeah, they understand it. They understand it. Like, they understand grandma. The majority of it, they can't hold a conversation. They won't talk, but they understand.
So Enrique can hold a conversation.
Oh, really?
But he won't. That's not his preferred method of communication. His preferred is English, but he can hold a conversation. He understands, and Liz and I intentionally will code switch in order to be able to prevent them from understanding. But Enrique can follow. Vicente is like he's reading body language. He's not reading like grammar and vocabulary. He's reading the nuances, the eye contact, the facial gestures.
Maybe if you tell them, you do know that you make more money if you're bilingual.
Yeah.
When we told Bam Bam that, he was on a mission to learn Spanish, but my son, he gives up on stuff. He's just kind of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Because I went through the advance, then Gimel after, Goodfellow, and then Gimel. That's why it was hard for me to come back to be an MLI right after. And that's another thing that I remember now while we were talking about being in the club. Because I think I was more out of the community because of the billets I held. than I was. So there was, I'll tell you, in my career, there hasn't been more. I think this is the longest I've been as far as continuity doing one thing in my whole career. Every time it's been something different. Every time. Because it was field radio operator for my first enlistment. Moved over to do linguist, so that, you know, went to school, went to DLI, went to Goodfellow, then got sent to Gitmo. Then it was time to re-enlist. Re-enlistment incentive. Well, I want to go be an MLI. Right, so then I got sent to be an MLI. So that pulled me out instead of going to Ready Battalion like everybody else, right?
Yep.
Went to be an MLI. Then that was 3 years there. I've been wanting to be a drill instructor. So monitors show up. Hey, now the intel community can go back to doing B-billets. So sign me up. I'm at 12 years, mind you. I get to freaking Yellow Footprints again. Now I'm 12 years in, and I'm, you know, holding up with these 5-6 year in the Marine Corps sergeants, staff sergeants, and shit. And
so did you get to the point of being an SDI?
Yeah. I got to the point where I got offered a chief drill instructor for Series Chief, but I turned it down because hotel company at the time was dealing with famous or infamous Sergeant Glass situation. Well, that was coming. The hotel company wasn't going in the right direction, and luckily I had good prior chief drill instructors that said, hey, just go do your quota. You got 9 months left. You successfully did your tour. 9 months left, go on quota.
I'm not familiar with that billet of a chief drill instructor.
So you obviously start at the bottom. You're the kill hat, then the J hat, then the senior drill instructor. Then you got drill instructors per series. So each company is split into two series. So each of the series has a chief drill instructor that is responsible for those drill instructors in that whole series. So that's what that is.
Okay.
And then after that is the first sergeant. So you got the chief drill instructor is you're in charge of. Actually, there's one more, company chief. So it's just, you're not training recruits. You are responsible for all the drill instructors. You're training the drill instructors and making sure they get all their shit done.
Okay.
And if the drill instructors do something wrong, you're the one answering for it. You're the one holding them accountable. That's what
I took a lift to go get a haircut today as soon as I checked in, because I figured it'd be a while before we hooked up. And I was talking to the Lyft driver, and he was telling me, you know, he's asked me, he says, you must really want to go get a haircut. And I said, yeah, I need to before I get back to Okinawa. I said, I had a hard time finding a decent barber here on the East Coast while I've been down. But the spot that I found on the internet, it looks like it's legit. You can get a decent haircut before I check in back home. And so he's asking me about, you know, boot camp, because he went to see one of his high school best friends graduate from boot camp from Paris Island. And I said, oh yeah. I said, well, you know, I graduated from MSgt San Diego, being from Texas. That's where they send us. And he's like, but man, their graduation ceremony was so impactful. I said, well, yeah, because it's about 3 weeks of training before they finish that. If you include the exchange of the guidons, because the guides are doing that like maybe 2-3 weeks out.
Oh yeah, when they're training for it and you start practicing, yeah.
And I explained to him about the concept of the drill master, right? Because that individual is the direct representative of the CG, right?
Correct.
And he is the one I'm talking about, Gunny Calderon, that worked with us because I was one of the honormen on exchange of the guidons, is the only staff and SEAL I've ever seen chew a commissioned officer's ass in public.
During practice?
During practice. The whole company's out there.
Yep.
At any moment, sir, you can pull your head out of your ass, sir.
Yep.
And like I've never seen that since.
And that's the thing. That's why they call it a fishbowl. Only there can it happen.
Yeah.
Only there. Yeah. And that's true because they hold that. When you think about it, look who's coming to look at the graduation.
Everybody.
So who's responsible? It's that drill master.
Yeah.
So they have to go out there and make sure that everything is to the T, everything's working good. They're coming out there to see a show. They're like, oh, they don't want to see no sloppy marching stuff. No. They want to see something that's just going to wow them.
How competitive is it to become the drill master at one of the 2 boot camps?
It's like everything else. You know, you've been there. They're not just going to pull somebody out of, you've been there. They've seen you 3 years. Then it's like, hey, you got it. We want you to be the drill master. You're in between this one and this one.
Is there like a shootout, like where they're having to like compete for it, or it's just like?
No. Yeah, it's just one of those, hey, these are the next ones in the chute. These are the next best ones. Who do we want?
How creative did you get with your cadence?
Not too creative, I don't think. Not too creative. I took a lot of what some of the drill instructors had. When you get graded on your first platoon, what they call it, you take the X. Part of your grading, I think it was 5 points, but part of your grade is for you to make up your own sing cadence, your own rhythm, your own sing cadence. So,
do you remember one?
Well, it was only one.
That you made up?
I didn't make it up.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
You was jacking for beats.
I think it was the goodbye. That one. So I implemented it, but it was like you have to do it for a certain amount of steps, so it wasn't even that long. So I don't even remember if I got credit for it or not,
but ask.
I never got really created.
And his earphones when he goes and works out, him and Tomas.
No, but that's running cadence, not marching cadence.
Oh, okay.
So I got in trouble at advanced course for calling cadence based off of too short. I remember how it all began. I used to sing dirty raps to my East Side fans back then. So we're on the topic of hip hop.
And you have that, like, on the left, right, left?
Yeah.
Hey, you're creative, man.
Yeah. But since we're on the topic, and you brought it up earlier in the conversation, let's get to top 5.
Top 5.
Top five all-time hip hop artists.
Here we go. Oh, you changed it. Now you said hip hop artist.
I know. Now you said
all right, here we go. Let me
you
see.
said rap.
All right, so we'll do top of the list. For me, West Coast.
Okay.
Ice Cube.
So you said West Coast, but I mean, like, are you gonna break it down between coasts?
No. I'm saying, being that I'm from the West Coast.
Okay.
Ice Cube.
Number one,
Ice Cube.
Hold it down.
Holding it down.
Don Mega.
That's right.
We be
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Ice Cube, number 1. 2, I'd have to say Tupac.
Machiavellianist, Illuminati, all through your body.
Because
Why Cube over Pac? Because he was first, or because he was most influential? He influenced Pac. You don't think Pac superseded him?
No, because I was listening to Cube before I was listening to Pop.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. What about DLC?
I mean, he was up there, but I wasn't, besides like 2 or 3 songs that I knew about him, I wasn't too much. I was more a fan of MC Ren than DLC. You know, then, so it's got to be one, or can it be a group?
One.
You know who? Okay. So I did 1, 2. I'm going to skip to 5 and put Willie from the Ghetto Boys.
Willie D.
Willie D.
D.
Willie D.
You guys are old.
Willie D.
That's interesting.
Willie D.
So Willie D was a freestyle champ in Houston.
So I had his whole album after.
Ball headed ho. What you see, D?
Yep. Willie D.
Ball headed hoes everywhere.
29 palms. 29 palms. That's yep. Right.
He had the coveralls on
his hat.
Yeah.
That's right.
And there was a KKK guy on the top on his album cover.
Yep.
Why did you skip to 5?
Because I didn't want to forget and then think about. So Willie D's gonna be at 5. So I got Ice Cube, got Tupac. 3. I'm gonna have to put Little Rob, dude.
Yeah.
I have to. I
couldn't get down with him. That's
because you're not from Cali.
You're right. But I spent a lot of time on Cali. I in Texas. So when the whole East Coast West Coast thing kicked off, and I explained this, I think to Antoine Martin. He's one of the sergeants out there at MCSB. I think it was him. Texas was kind of partial to the West Coast for a lot of reasons, but primarily because there was a lot of ties there. Like DOC is originally from Texas.
Yes, he is.
Spice One is originally from Texas, and still has family back in Texas, and there was a lot of ties between like Death Row and Rap-A-Lot, and so like that relationship was there. And there's some cats from New York that were from Texas, like DJ Premier, and this isn't well known, is from Texas originally. Primo, the main producer, one of the main producers for Nas's Illmatic album. But, by and large, the ties between, at least, I can't say the entire South, but at least Texas and the West Coast were very strong. And so there was a lot of interplay in crossovers, like when Compton's Most Wanted dropped Music to Drive By, and there's that track on there by with MC8 and Scarface called In Too Deep.
Yeah.
And that doop, 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 doop. I played that at the IMAX 3D Theater in Galveston, Texas, and it had a 10,000 watt stereo system. And we shook the whole
How did you play that there?
Because I had access to the building because I worked there at the IMAX. So when we were cleaning up at the end of the night, the projectionist would let me play whatever the fuck I wanted. And I said, you gotta play this track right here, In Too Deep. And we shook the whole fucking building with that track. Those ties between Texas and Cali were so strong.
But not strong enough to make you a Rob fan.
Not a Rob. No. There were other rappers from the West Coast that I enjoyed much more so than the Chicano rap that was coming out of Cali.
Yeah.
It's like I was jamming.
Too Short from?
Too Short from Oakland. But I really got. He fucked up his order. But I really got down with Cypress Hill.
Yes.
I got down with Kid Frost.
Yeah, I like Kid Frost's stuff, and I still listen to his stuff, but I don't know. I wouldn't put him on my list. I guess he would have to be on my top 10. So yes. So good. Yeah. They would be on my top 10 because you reminded me of DJ Quick when you said Spice One.
Yeah.
So DJ Quick, but no. Number 4 is gonna be Eminem, and then Willie D.
So number 3 was
Little Rock.
Okay.
Then Eminem, and then Willie D. But
I'm surprised you picked Willie D over Scarface.
I like his lyrics. But Willie D just came out with that album, and I was like, I remember that.
Yeah. The Diary was sold so much better than Willie D's solo album, and his Mr. Scarface album was seminal, but And I think a lot of Scarface's work kind of overshadowed Willie D, but Willie D's legit.
And I'll tell you, I don't think I would have ever listened to the Ghetto Boys and Willie D if it wasn't for 29 Palms and who was there at the radio school. That's the diversity that I love from the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Come across as people that are like...
Yeah. So I was telling Sergeant Moreno, he's from Texas. I said, being in the Marine Corps, you kind of have to defend your taste in hip hop. He's like, what do you mean by that? I said, because like motherfuckers from the East Coast, they're gonna talk about KRS-One, they're gonna talk about Nas, they're gonna talk about Jay-Z and Wu-Tang and all that, and then motherfuckers from the West Coast, they're gonna talk about Pac and NWA and the
West
that
Coast
whole crew,
connection,
right? Yeah, and Spice One and DJ Quick, like you said, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Chronic album. I mean, look, when you tell them, but Texas got face, they can't discredit that. And one of the things that I will always say about Scarface is that he's your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to his stuff.
Yeah.
To remind me.
I would start with A Minute to Pray, Second to Die. I Never Seen a Man Cry.
Yes.
I've
never seen a man cry.
The whole Untouchable album, start to finish, is on point. Meant to Be Listened front to back. You get into the My Homies album. You get into Last of a Dying Breed. I mean, like his discography spans decades. I was telling Antoine, I bought my first album in like 85, 86 of Scarface's when he was on the Ghetto Boys. And then as it grew, and then on from there.
Yeah, damn. Wow.
So here we are in 2000, almost 2020, like 2019, 2020 is right upon us. And he's still putting out music. His last shit was Deeply Rooted. And like I told Sergeant Martin, this grown man rap music.
Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because, I'm in my 40s. I've been listening to him since I was like in the 6th grade. He's still making music. He's got to be...
I like that.
In his 50s.
That's why my dial was set on Sirius Channel 43. Rock the Bells.
Rock the Bells.
I'm surprised that little Cool J's not in there.
No. He kind of fell off, got more focused on acting and like Jamie Foxx said in his comedy special, licking his glossy lips. Licking his so glossy. He's like, where we going? We got practice. He's like, I don't know where you going, but I act.
Shit.
That's another one that's from Texas that a lot of people don't know about. Jamie Foxx.
He's from Texas?
Yeah.
Where in Texas?
I want to say it's close to Dallas. It's a smaller town.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if do you subscribe to HBO?
No.
We've had it. Why?
There's a show on there called The Shop. And it's part of the HBO sports section, but it's kind of like a video podcast with LeBron James and a bunch of athletes and entertainers, to include, Jon Stewart, to Nas, Drake, and others. And they basically they're getting haircuts and talking about life. It's a video podcast on HBO with megastars. I think they even had Ice Cube on there for one episode. But the most recent one was with Jamie Foxx. and he talks about being an entertainer in the 90s versus the entertainers of today, and how now celebrity figures are starting to influence through social media the conversations that are taking place amongst everyday people in a way that had never been done before. So that like everybody has a platform. And so when I started doing this, understanding that once it's recorded and it's released, it's out there. You know, I've had to be very careful about what I say, how I say it, who I say it to, and then ensuring that I've got other interested individuals that are involved in the vetting process before we release anything. And there's several things that I've taken into consideration whenever I sit down to record with somebody. And one thing is do no harm.
Yeah.
Right? And the other thing is, because we were talking about the club earlier, I can't only use people from within the club. I've got to get the spectrum.
Yeah, because there's going to be out there, like, what is the club? There shouldn't be a club.
Right.
It should be a spectrum. It shouldn't be a club.
And so I made it a point to do that. And not just to fixate on senior staff and COs or retirees. I've grabbed some chief warrant officers. I've grabbed some NCOs. And then
It's the new age.
yeah. But, you know, Mass Sergeant goes to a sergeant and says, hey, you want to sit down and record an interview? That, what would you say?
I would, first of all, it wouldn't even come across my mind. Just because, like I said, I'm the Gran Torino. I'm sitting in that house. Don't bother me, Padre.
Right.
But that's why it's awesome, man, to think that like you, it's like, oh, I know somebody that's doing a podcast. It's famous. Sign my napkin, yo.
Sign my napkin. So we talked about top 5 rappers or hip hop artists, whatever.
No, you didn't.
Let me ask you a question.
Favorite groups.
Hold on, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Okay. Top Tejano song you're listening to right now.
Oh my gosh.
Contrabanda y Traición.
Salieron de San Isidro, procedentes de Tijuana.
Contrabanda y
I
Traición.
don't know that.
Los Tigres del Norte.
Oh.
No way.
No way.
They're not considered Tejano way.
We're close enough.
No, they're not.
If they got an MTV unplugged.
They're norteños.
Okay. So if that's the case, then I'll go with Michael Salgado.
Okay, now
Sí.
you're getting there.
Sin ella.
Really?
Yeah. It just reminds me of Liz.
Porque yo sin tus besos y sin tu amor me muero.
And I just wanted to ask that, just keep me like, I know you're like, oh, it's kind of weird, like, oh, top hip hop, top rapper. Like,
Yeah.
well, you from Tejano, you from Tejas. You know you listen to Tejano music. You
Well,
know you
so-
go back and throw that on.
Yeah, I did. My roommate in the advanced course was from Texas, a Mexicano, grandote. We don't make that model. It's a limited edition, right? He's like 6'3", 240, fucking monster. And he called me the whole time we were in advanced course. He called me the skipper. He said, "You talk like a fucking officer, dog." gonna call you the CO. You're gonna be the skipper.
Yeah.
So we go out, we go smoke a cigarette in the just to fuck around and get out of the room for a minute. And they call me the skipper, but I also like Emilio Navarra. And Bobby Pulido.
Yeah.
Just because he's my fraternity brother in college.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, his music's good. But I know him personally. We spent some time together, and just like we sit here and talk. He and I sat and talked, and I got to understand why he dropped out of college. I was a freshman and he had dropped out, but he came back to visit. And some of the guys in the fraternity, they didn't really like him too much. But I understood him in a way that they probably didn't. He had a lot of pressure on him from being Roberto Pulido's son. And decided that, as much as it would have been nice for him to go through and finish his degree, he had other plans and he's been successful over the years.
Yeah.
He's got some hits.
Do you like a lot of Tejano music?
Pues,
You're more norteño music.
No, I like some. Well, thanks to my boy Jimenez. Master Sergeant Jimenez was the battalion admin chief. Legal chief from
But tell him what your
San Antonio. Well, no, he's in San Antonio, but he's from Laredo.
But tell him what your genre of music was before you joined the Marine Corps.
Well, my what?
Genre. Your type of music.
Lowrider oldies.
Lowrider oldies.
Oh yeah.
Listen, before he joined the Marine Corps, there was only a few types of music he would listen to. And then I would jump in the car and I'd be putting my stuff on. He's like, what are you listening to? Always criticizing what I listen to.
Hey, how are you gonna put on AC/DC on a lowered cutlass with 520s and laces on it? Come on. Ain't no way, bro. Shit.
So
Back in black!
Hell no.
Hit the switch.
Get your ass out this car.
Thunder!
And then he comes back from boot camp and he dedicates this song to me.
On the radio?
No, he just comes back and he goes...
On a tape, bro.
On a tape. He sent me a tape with different songs that he was dedicating
A mixtape.
Yeah.
Make your own mixtape.
Yeah.
And what is that? I Want to Make Love to You, but who was it from? I can't remember, but it's a rock song, right? And it's not just that song, it's all these songs that I was like, how the heck does he know this music? Like, this is my kind of music. And when we finally talked, he's like, you don't even know, babe. I'm in the barracks and you got this white guy that plays country. You got this other guy that plays nothing but like rock music. And he's all like, you just get used to it. You have no choice. You have to listen to their music. You take turns listening to each other's music and you develop a liking for
It's called the Squad Bay.
It's called the Squad Bay.
It's called the Squad Bay. All you get is a square. Nobody has property, so everybody wants to their own music.
So Netflix has been doing like these documentary series where they'll cover a whole decade in one show, and they just dropped the 2000s, and the cover for the 2000s is a Kevlar helmet with the Marpac cover, but in the band, right? Because with the cat eye bands, the elastic bands that go around it, the cat eyes were for night vision. It had an iPod in it.
An iBrick?
Yeah, an iPod. With the click wheel.
Yeah, an iBrick.
And that for me was my experience in OIF 2 Tech 2. Because we had set up in our Humvee some speakers that were connected to the battery with the aux cable. And we pop in and had a playlist, and I was balling. I had 160 gigabytes of fucking music.
Bro, so that's the kind of stuff that we were talking earlier, right? Of the transition of me being so Marine Corps regulation, right? Boom, and then here I go, you go to MARSOC. And then I go deploy with the team. And that's the kind of stuff I saw. I'm like, wait a minute. We're about to go on a mission. You put in speakers on this Humvee, we're gonna be listening to music on the way. It's like, dude, I learned a lot on that shit. But when I had done, freaking field ops, that was like so per the order, I'm like, oh, you get in there, you set up the tent like this, you go do this, you go walk around the tent, put up your freaking concertina wire and all this crap. But like, never was there like music or like on your own, right?
Right.
Get out there with golf company and it's like, boom, different. Here it is. It's awesome. It was crazy, but that's why it's funny when you bring up like, oh, we had speakers set up on this. I was like, here I am setting up my vehicle with like 15,000 antennas and shit. It's cool. I like that.
But thanks to the Marine Corps, you now enjoy different music. And It's nice to ride with you in the car now.
Matter of fact, that deployment with golf company is what made me appreciate country music.
Now he listens to it all the time.
It calmed me down on the way to the mission. Which is cool.
What country music? Like
Everything.
Old school country or like?
Yeah, like
No, you do
old school.
both. You do both. You come up with these songs that I've never heard. And
No, we're
winning
talking about,
awards.
Garth Brooks, the
George Strait.
George Strait, well now
Clint Black.
Paisley, Black, freaking
Willie Nelson.
No, that's way
I like
It's too old.
I listen to some of those, but yeah, I know some of this songs. But it's the
What about the blues? You ever get down with the blues?
we try to find some clubs to
we
go to the
go
blues.
we go listen to live blues music. We don't listen to it at home or in the car, but we do enjoy going out, having a drink, listening to the blues. We like that, but not to say, oh, we put it in.
Not a lot, like
No, not a lot, but we enjoy
more
it.
jazz, more jazz, but
So I mentioned earlier when we were having dinner about Apple Music. Even though we have a subscription to Apple Music, I still buy the family vinyl,
the actual record.
actual like LP.
Did you teach him how to
Do you have Grease?
Nah, I don't have Grease,
Grease?
but I'll get back to Grease. So last time I was here, I bought Liz Prince, the Purple Rain album.
Purple Rain.
That album, the limited edition
Yes,
one.
the one with him with his purple bike in the front with his big curly hair.
Yep,
Yes.
So I bought that for Liz. For Vicente, I bought him the Kendrick Lamar album, limited edition, individually serialized and numbered.
Damn.
And then for Enrique, I bought him Nirvana, Nevermind.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Is that where the baby's floating in the pool?
Yep, that one. And then for this trip, I bought Liz the Sade, the Best of Sade album, because that disc, I stole that disc from my job when I was waiting tables. When we were dating, we used to listen to that all the time. We burned a hole through that CD. So I figured it's time to replace that.
But you bought the vinyl, not the CD.
I bought the vinyl this time.
Okay.
Yeah. And so for Vicente, I bought him the 20th anniversary Nas Illmatic album. And for Enrique, I bought him a greatest hits for Jimi Hendrix.
Mm.
So on your vinyl player, do you have a peso sitting on the needle? So
No. I got a legit Audio Technica. It's a good one. It's a direct drive.
You know, people didn't know what that was for.
What?
That peso on the needle.
Put the needle on. Oh no,
Put
sorry.
the peso on the needle.
Put the peso on the needle.
From delinquent habits.
What movies? What's your favorite movie? Who's your favorite actor?
Favorite actor?
That's hard.
Man. Favorite actor. I don't know. I already
I don't
can't.
think you have one.
If I had to pick one like right now, I'd have freaking.
I know.
What's his face? We were just talking about that movie.
Stars Born. What's his name?
Bradley Cooper?
Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
That's just because of the movie that you just saw.
Just because of his accomplishment. I mean, dude, his movies, all his movies, awesome, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then for him to just go and like flip and like learn music, learn to play the instrument, and then sing, especially because I'm into like right now listening to the rugged country music, you know, freaking what's his face. Anyways, that type of music is just awesome. That movie was just badass. So yeah. But no, he wouldn't be my favorite, but if I was put on the spot, but okay, Bradley Cooper.
I don't think you have one.
I don't.
So who would play Saul in a movie?
Tomas.
Oh, Vin Diesel.
Huh?
Tomas
Tomas.
Barajas, my son. He would. He'd be the one.
Just like Ice Cube had his son play him in the movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see
Like
Straight
that.
Outta Compton?
Yeah.
What'd you think about that movie?
That was cool. I liked it.
Yeah. It was very nostalgic for me.
Mm.
So I had to like pause it every so often to explain to the boys some of the intricacies of what happened when Ice Cube fell out with NWA and all that. And then he dropped this album, and then this happened, and they said this.
So were your kids doing okay, Dad?
Yeah, it's like way too much.
I think the
information.
best part of that movie was when they were sitting all together listening to Ice Cube's comeback.
Yeah.
That was the shit. The freaking with no Vaseline.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that was the best. Man, I thought it was cool. I liked it. They got the documentary out there, and the couple things have changed. When they got what is that?
I know, I don't remember what it's called, but I remember watching the documentary and they did change up some things. But I think they changed it up to...
So here was my question, right, from that movie, because they don't show, because you know how the remake of Boys in the Hood, right? You know how in the beginning,
They remade Boys in the Hood?
Well, is it? That's my question. Because if you listen to the song, right, they're like all hanging out. It's like, oh, you remember that old shit Easy did way back?
Yeah, okay.
So in the movie, right, Eazy-E goes to hospital when they're waiting for Ice Cube to show up and Dre to show up to do some music again at Eazy-E's house. So I was wondering, when is it that they actually got back together and was going over that shit? They didn't show that. Because think about it. Every time I've heard that song, Boys in the Hood, that's how it starts. They're hanging out, be like, hey, remember that old shit?
Yeah, I think it was because there was an EP that was released before. I think it was just Eazy-E's solo shit, and then later they dropped because Dope Man was
Yeah, that was
his single that came out before that wasn't a full-on album, and then they brought it back for the album, and they did it in that way.
I was in Hawaii, and they was going back and forth after they dismantled. I think they did a good job. It's pretty cool.
You'd have Tomas playing. I thought Vin Diesel, because you both are bald, have that deep voice and the broad shoulders.
Maybe when I was working out a little bit.
When you what?
Maybe when I was working out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
So my favorite actor of all time is Denzel Washington.
Yes. Oh, you know what? That's the thing, man. You put me on the spot. I can't think about it until Yep, Denzel. As a matter of fact, I just watched The Equalizer for the 10th time.
Cállate. My gosh. Oceans 11, 12, 13.
You've seen that, right? The Equalizer? 1 and 2?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oceans 11 is what his movie is. All of them. I don't know how many there is, but every time that movie
Ocean's
comes
11.
So, well, what is it that you like about those? Is it the ensemble cast? Is it the
Yes.
heist?
It's the cast, how they just...
Have you ever seen The Sting with Paul Newman and Robert Redford?
No.
He has that. Yeah.
That's very much in line with the Ocean series. It's worth watching. It's older, but it's there's some twists. It's a caper film, a heist film. I definitely recommend that. I think you get a kick out of it.
What's your other one? Mr.
Maybe I should have said Lee Ermey for Full Metal Jacket.
Did he just play in one movie?
No.
I don't really know which one.
And he had his own show.
Mm.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was so popular. Mail Call.
Mail Call, that's what it was. Mail Call. That was cool. Yeah, man.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
You like that one?
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, yes.
I don't.
She's like, I don't like that movie.
How can you not?
Yeah.
Especially when they whoop each other's ass. Oh my goodness, that's the best.
Dream on, baby, dream on. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah. I don't know if I would put it on top of a list though.
But he's a hopeless romantic.
Sammy.
Hopeless romantic.
Are you a linguist or are you a SIGINT guy?
I'm a Marine.
I'm like.
Semper Fidelis. I'm about to go outside and call cadence right now. I'm about to call that staff in formation. Get in formation right now.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the way that I've approached it, because, and I used to tell this to the Marines at the schoolhouse when I was running the course out there for the Spanlings was, there's a lot of people out there that can do what we do, but there's very few that can do what we do in the uniform that we wear and be able to support the infantry as we conduct operations. That's the part that I think a lot of them failed to appreciate as they were going to the schoolhouse because they'd been so acclimated to that joint environment as they were going through training. And my responsibility was to prep them for the fleet. Like, you got to data dump all that shit that was pumped into your head when you were at DLI, unless you're going to San Antonio or unless you're going to Fort Meade, because then you're going to need that shit, right? And how to integrate and maneuver through that space. But if your ass is going to 2nd Radio Battalion, which was sometimes the case, right? You had to understand how to maintain proficiency in your language skill set, but then adopt everything that 21s are supposed to be able to do in a way that embarrasses them. Because you weren't trained to do that in the same way that they were. Although we had the TSOC thing, and to me, that was probably the single greatest travesty as it pertains to language proficiency in the force, because we took that TSOC block of instruction out of Hyde from language instruction, and we never got it back. And so when we would have to go to the CTAGs, the Cryptologic Training Advisory Group, working groups, meetings, the CTAG meetings, we'd have to fight for why our Marines were not as proficient as they wanted us to be. Why can't they be 333? And the reason is because we still weren't dedicated and putting the amount of effort and resources into cross-cultural competency, language proficiency in a way that elevates it in the list of priorities sufficiently. And the reason why TSOC was brought into the course of instruction was because the Radbins weren't capable of manning, training, and equipping proficiently prior to deployment when they checked in. So we were doing at the schoolhouse the mission of the gaining units.
You don't have a legitimate requirement. You don't help hold people accountable for what you expect. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
And so we're still doing it to this day.
That's where the 3-3 is sitting. That's where that 3-3 is sitting. Taking the money's not going to go away because they'll just be like, well, that's just extra money.
Yeah.
It's not going to do anything. Well, for some that care, yes, they'll do it, right? Like I was talking about discipline earlier, right? If you have the discipline to be a Marine in garrison outside of your 26XX neighborhood, right? When you're around all the other MOSs, what does that mean? Okay, that means uniform, press, looking sharp, right? Conducting yourself how you're supposed to. Then if you don't have that discipline because it's unimportant to you, then how are you going to have that discipline within the community to make sure that you're doing those things that you're expected to? It's just those things. And I was always in that. That's where I had always the confrontations, the problems, because I think I was more towards garrison. And meaning the Marine Corps stuff, basic Marine Corps stuff, right? You were taught in boot camp, hey, maintain height and weight, PT, look sharp, respect, you address the rank, you respect the rank, and then of course, know your job. But in some of the MOSs, that gets lost. Well, don't bother me with the Marine Corps stuff because I'm an expert in my job. Do you want me to focus on my job and my mission, or do you want me to focus on how I look? Well, both, dumbass. Say, that's what makes you a Marine. That's what sets you apart. That's what sets us apart, that you can do both, that you care about both, right? And that's kind of like what's always been my pet peeve, and that's where always it's like, oh, this guy's just too much, as my students, as my cadets put it now. You're too much.
So talk to me about that.
Too extra.
You're cadets.
Mm-hmm. I'm a Marine Corps JROTC certified instructor for Baltimore County High School.
You call cadence for them cats?
I do.
Yeah?
Unfortunately, when they do drill competitions, cadence is not in there.
What?
Yeah, they're not required or they're not allowed to do cadence. We do drill cards.
How do they march?
By the sound of their freaking driving them heels. So the way I'm training them, I give them cadence. So they can memorize it in their head.
Right.
And then I remove the cadence and let them hear their heels. And then that's the thunder, that's their cadence. And they get out. And anytime we compete, we're inside a gym. So bro,
yeah, that thunder
comes. And nobody uses thunder. They be chopping their steps and using their tiptoes. Like, that's not marching. It's like, drive the heels. Yep.
You like that, don't you?
I do. I don't know why. Just like it. It's that instant and willing obedience to order, to where, like, I mean, it'll happen to me. If I'm sitting there and somebody comes up with that voice and just says right or attention or right face, I'm gonna execute and then ask questions later, like, fuck, who was that, right? It's just in me. I like that. You know? It's fun.
So let me ask you, what rank were you when you lat moved over?
Corporal. I was a Corporal 96.
So if I could turn back time and take Saul Barajas, retired, back to sit down in a smoke pit with Corporal Barajas.
Damn, do they even exist anymore?
Smoke pits?
Yeah, smoke pits with beer gardens?
Yeah. What would you tell him if you had like 2 hours with him? What would you say? Before he lateraled into this field of ours.
What would I say? I mean, not to shine my own shoes, but keep doing what you're doing. Stick to the basics. Always stick to the basics. Meaning what you were taught in boot camp. That's how I ran my career. I would always go back. You know, I told you that never did I have continuity in my whole career. Every 3 years was something different. And it was always all right. Reset. Boom. Number one, am I within height and weight standards? You know, am I looking sharp? Do I know my current my current events, what's going on, what's up, Marine Corps orders, what's going on with the Marine Corps, current events with the Marine Corps, and then what's my mission where I'm at now? How can I use what I had what I did in my last 3 years to use it now to be successful? So let me go back. What I would say is, don't worry. That's what it'd be. Don't worry, because you know the basics. Because it was always nerve-wracking. Thinking, man, what am I gonna get put on next? What am I gonna be expected to know already? But what you don't know is that you've already been put through that. To be able to step into something new that is not really new. You know what I mean? Because by you applying the basics, you're already 50% into that mission. And now it's just, okay, attention to detail. So don't worry, you got it. Because it was always nerve-wracking for me.
Rap.
That's a wrap.
Did you hear me, bro?
What'd you say?
Don't
that was
take
good
it drive.
ending.
I wish you would have told your younger
That was
self.
smart. That was good.
He's gonna want to keep doing. He's like, no, I'm not done talking.
Pisteando.
I am so shocked. So shocked.
And you know what the great thing is? Because I recorded it, your sons can listen to it.
I feel like Batman wouldn't be too like, wow. I'm pretty sure he'd be like, wow, really, Mom? You just had to put my laundry out there. But Wes would be like, yeah. Dad wants me to play him? Yeah. No, but I thought you little boys were gonna be like, what the heck? Dad was talking? He never talks. I'm surprised he came out of his bubble, his comfort zone.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I've So one of the things that I use is a quid pro quo. I give a little to share, and it incurs a certain amount of obligation
to
share back. Yeah. So that's one thing. The other thing is just setting the mood. You know, a nice, quiet, intimate spot where you can have that conversation. That helps. But the other part is listening, right? Like you said earlier.
Yeah. I think maybe that's why he doesn't talk to me much. I mean, he talks to me, but he doesn't like, when we start to get intimate conversations like that, maybe I interrupt too much to the point where he's like, ¿sabes que tú hablas pues?
So how you feel, man? You think you got everything off your chest that you wanted to say?
He's like, I didn't know how to want to say anything.
You're the master. You're the leader.
You're the team leader.
Well, I mean, in the car, we were talking about you, like my career path. We didn't really talk about that, but I think that was a good one. That good question that you asked me.
I took pictures of you guys while you were in a video. I requested you on Facebook. I'll send it to you through Messenger if you want.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't have Facebook on my phone.
I was looking for your Instagram. I couldn't freaking find it. Maybe I can't hear correctly. I told you so. So you went to go watch George Lopez. And I'm watching everybody laugh. And I'm like, what did he say? I can't hear. Like, I can't hear well. I'm like, or do I just not find him funny? Fuck, what is it?
You're deaf.
What did you say your podcast name is?
Top Game.
Top Gang. G-A-N-G.
Game.
Oh, Game.
Game.
Oh, it's like a gang.
Game. So it's a game.
I see Top Game.
Yes.
Yeah, but there's no...
Babe.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Why must you embarrass us like we don't know how to use our phones?
I don't care.
I need to go back to flip phones.
Babe, we were when I was getting my tat right, and then I walked over to Monica, and she was getting hers, and then she was like, I want to follow her tat guy, and so she's trying to figure it out. I'm like, here, let me help you, and I couldn't figure it out, and then he takes off his gloves. He goes, give it here. And he starts doing it for us, and we're like, I'm sorry, I'm just not that tech savvy.
And that's what I'm talking about. You waste all this time just flipping up, looking at his videos instead of how can I most effectively use my phone?
You know what? I like documentaries. That's what makes me happy. It makes me smile.
How about you do a documentary of how to use my phone effectively?
No, I'm gonna start a page. I'm gonna name it History with Claudia.
Vámonos. Porque Samuel se tiene que dormir. He's got a 14-hour flight.
I appreciate everything, brother.
Man.
Thanks for opening it up, man.
Proud of you, man. You're freaking awesome. You're awesome, bro.
Thank you.
You're my idol. I wanna be just like you when I grow up.
Gracias por todo.
I wanna be just like you when I
Nice seeing
grow
you
up.
again. Can't wait to meet your wife.
Yeah, she'll be out here probably before.
Hit us up when you guys come back, man.
Definitely, most definitely.
Yeah. Does she like to drink too?
Oh, she loves wine.
Okay.
She loves whiskey too. She drinks whiskey. Actually, it was Liz who taught me to drink whiskey. I'll tell you a funny story. We were out drinking one night at Club 21, the spot where I could go with her and not be around the Vatos Locos and all the crazy shit. I didn't have to take my pistol in this joint. And so, we're having a good time. I just made like $400 that night, waiting tables, and I got cash in my pocket, and I'm like, hey, you want another one? She's like, no, I'm good. I think, ready to go, get back to the house. I say, I'll get you another one. So I go get some more drinks. I come back and say, here, babe. She's like, and she starts,